Debashish Munshi. I'm a professor of management communication at the University of Waikato. The theme of my professorial lecture is diversity. Now, the questions that I ask is, what does diversity really mean in organizations and societies? Because we hear a lot of talk about managing diversity, valuing diversity, celebrating diversity. But the question is, who are the managers? Who are the valuers? Who are the celebrants? And that's what interests me really. Is diversity something that is to be managed? Or is it something, a free-flowing abundance of ideas, thoughts, groups of people? And those are the questions that I want to explore in my lecture. I think one of the issues with diversity is that, people talk a lot about diversity, but ultimately the ways in which people do things still are, what I call, part of a dominant frame, really. So we talk about diversity, different groups of people. So let's say, for example, an organization might have employees who are drawn from a variety of groups, ethnic groups, national groups, cultural groups, whatever. But if the ways of doing things is still entrenched in that one dominant way, then the organization is not really diverse. And I see that as the primary issue, that are we really engaging with a variety of ideas? Are we really drawing from a variety of people? And so even if we have diverse groups of people, do we create an atmosphere where they can actually succeed? Because if the ways of doing things is still entrenched in one dominant form, how does diversity really survive? I think it's the issue is that whether we are really tapping into diversity, or is it just a way of entrenching the positions of the dominant elite? Now, for instance, in New Zealand, recent studies have shown that inequality is actually growing in New Zealand. And now, why is that? So is it because that the policies that we are adopting seem to favor some groups over others, favor some ideas or ideologies over others? And so in that sense, is diversity really being taken note of? Now, one of the areas that I have studied, is public relations and organizational communication. Now, the question for me is that, in public relations, for instance, are all the publics treated the same? Or is it the case that some publics, are privileged over the others? And that's where, again, the lack of diversity becomes very open. I think diversity is about social justice, and why is it that there's so many organizational and societal issues that are so contentious and divisive today? And one of the reasons is because the divisions between the rich and the poor, is exacerbated. The divisions between profligacy and sustainability is another of those divisions, between profitability and survival, between technological wants and needs. And so, so there are these, different pockets, different needs. But the question is that are our policies really catering to a diverse set of needs, or is it just, catering to a few, and what I call an elite dominant group? Diversity is not just one thing. It is about social justice, it is about creativity, it is about innovation. And one of the things that I'm trying to say is that if you see the world around us today, we seem to be going into a downward spiral of wars, of inequalities, of stresses. And I think personally that one of the reasons for that is because we do not acknowledge and value diversities. And by diversities, I just don't mean groups of people, but diverse ideas, diverse ways of thinking, diverse knowledge systems. So why is it that one knowledge system is privileged over another knowledge system? And so those are the questions that I raise, and hopefully I'll have some answers as well, because right now I'm conducting a research, an interdisciplinary research with colleagues from elsewhere in the campus on sustainable citizenship. So how can we build on this concept of sustainable citizenship, which looks at shared values among different groups of people, different ideas, different knowledge systems? How can we bring those together to be able to solve some of the issues that we think are intractable? I welcome you to join me in my journey of exploring the issues of diversity at my professorial lecture at 6 p.m. on the 29th of October. It's at the University of Waikato's Gallagher Academy of Performing Arts. There'll be lots of examples from my research and hopefully some food for thought as well.